Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Live Fire and Safety. I'm Bubba.
Hey, I'm Russ.
Hey, you guys, today's show is going to be a little bit different. We're going to pay tribute to the lives lost and the outcome of 9/11.
No, what's that?
This day right here, boss, is kind of a very important day, not only for emergency services, but for any American that lives today.
Right. Yeah. Most definitely. I mean, it's a day we want to pay tribute to and never forget it. That was the worst attack on American soil ever.
Yeah, actually, since the Pearl Harbor attacks.
Well,
It's an important day to remember this event so that the lives lost never die.
yeah, or in vain.
Or in vain.
Exactly.
We never want that person, anyone to be a total loss. Let's talk about today what we're going to do. Guys, we're not going to do any product demonstration today. We don't want to cheapen this day up by no means.
No means. And this is a perfect day to do this. Just it happened to fall
Exactly.
on September 11th
Exactly.
that we do our shows. So.
The main thing we want you guys to know is when people talk about 9/11, the first thing that kind of comes to mind is the World Trade Center, and obviously being that it was the biggest,
Yep.
the towers, it was the first thing struck, but there was a lot more that went on that day in the terror attack, and we want to just give that brief timeline through today.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of remind you guys, today's all about remembering that day. And if you don't mind, be sure to share this video and comment below, where were you that day?
Oh, yeah.
Let's remember that day and remember the sadness and
I
and the
remember.
fear that we all
I
had.
remember it well. And fear is it.
Yeah.
You didn't know. You just heard timelines of everything happening. And of course, I was out on the road and I was listening on the radio and people calling on the phone, and it was just one thing after the other. You just hearing. And the problem was, I mean, everybody was scared. I was scared because you didn't know what was happening next.
You simply didn't know.
You didn't know.
Well,
what was
if we take a look at the timelines here, and at 8:46
North Tower was struck.
on a beautiful sunny day, kind of
Beautiful.
like today.
And I remember looking at that blue sky.
And the blue
It's
sky was
beautiful.
beautiful. And as we sat there and we watched in awe of what was taking place, little did we know that it was, what was coming. I remember watching the TV that morning at my dad's shop and just thinking, how can you not see the World Trade Centers? And because at that time, everybody thought that it was just somebody who had got off track and flew into the World Trade Center. We didn't know the dynamics of that day quite yet.
You're right.
But as the world tuned in,
Yeah. And then 903, the South Tower was struck.
the South Tower was struck by Flight 175.
And then 937, Pentagon was struck.
The Flight 77 crashes into the western side of the Pentagon.
Right. And then, of course, at 9:59, the South Tower collapsed. And then that's when the chaos, it was chaos in the get-go, but that's really when it.
Right, and at that time, that's when the decision was made. Hey, look, let's, for the first time ever, let's ground all flights
Right.
coming from and
Right.
to the United States. Never before did that happen. So if we can go back to that day, and let's just kind of imagine on a playing field from the eastern seaboard to the western, from the northern to the southern, you closing down its borders because you don't know what's happening.
Oh.
And here in a little bit, we'll talk about the advancements from that day.
Right. But also I'm trying to put y'all keeping in the timeline.
Right.
At 10:03 is when that flight crashed in Pennsylvania.
Correct.
Which
They have
Yeah.
retrieved the data that basically said there was a fight ensued in the cabin. And at that point, I think there was some, there's been different reports because there's no way to know 100% definitively, but obviously
you don't know where
the
it was headed.
passengers on
The White
board,
House is what
yeah,
they said it would take.
the passengers on board obviously knew that there had been hijackings, had been attacks at that point, and little did the cowards know who came to attack. And this is my opinion. The cowards had set up to attack the one thing that they thought we were weak in, and that's our kindness. Our kindness to love people, to support people, and little did they know, boss, that's actually our strength.
Oh, and like I told you yesterday when we was kind of you asked me right after lunch, where was I, you know, we was kinda talking about it. And I can remember, like, on the side of the road, people's little American flags was selling American flags, put on your car to hold up. And to me, that's when the country
Really
came
came
together. I mean, it was like we was all pulling for the same team, not that we're doing it now, but
Right.
like
Well-
everybody was, and your churches was full, you know, the following Sundays, which, you know, I wish they was full every Sunday like that, but I hated something like that had to bring everybody together. But, you know, you look back on that, and I remember. And then, of course, at 1028 is when the North Tower
Correct.
collapsed.
And when the North Tower collapsed, in all, you had 2,977 lives lost from the World Trade Center to the Pentagon
Right.
to the plane in the field in Pennsylvania. We're talking about, that's huge devastation.
It was.
And all these people went to sleep the night before not knowing what was to come.
No.
And it's really scary, folks. That's why you really gotta live every day
Like it should last. Like it should last. You know, you kiss your family in the morning, you kiss them good night, because you just don't ever know. And I'm sure all them people
Right.
didn't have a clue. And you can go and watch the series and things they have on TV, of course on Facebook, and you can read on the computer of just people now. You know, they're telling their story, and you know, a lot of them, well, probably most of them, especially the firemen too. I didn't know that was the last day when they rolled out of that station with those.
I mean, they checked their trucks off for the last time.
Exactly.
Probably had, you know, sandwiches. Say, hey, you know, I used to do that when I got into shift. I'd be like, hey, this is what I'm having for lunch. Can't wait. You know,
Yeah.
obviously. But 2,977 people total was lost on that day. Over 6,000 was injured. 265 combined died on the planes alone. 2,606 just in the World Trade Center. 125 in the Pentagon, 55 military. The rest were were what they consider civilian employees. 343 firefighters, 71 police officers, and 8 paramedics. Now, I know that today on Facebook, you're gonna see a lot of 343, you're gonna see a lot of police officers, a lot of EMS workers, but let's don't let this day just be about those guys, even though it is.
Right.
Let's make sure that this day is memorialized for them, those public servants who went into battle that day, just going to work, but let's talk about all the great that came out of that day.
Right.
Because from the rubble, you know, when I looked at that TV screen, I was like, man, this is it, this is terrible. But what came from that rubble, what rose up with that smoke,
Well, I mean, they
has been unbelievable.
Yeah, and a lot in the fire service, you know,
Right.
the instant command system,
Right.
that's big, and
FEMA. With the
big
grant
time.
assistance and.
Grant assistance.
Look
FEMA.
at, any kind of, you know, a national disaster, FEMA's first one responding, they're actually helping people out. And, you know, sometimes everybody gets disgruntled in that, but understand what it originated from was this tragedy on September 11th, 2001.
Right.
You also got cancer awareness. Over,
That was a big
over
thing.
1,900 people in the lower Manhattan area got cancer within 2 years of that tower falling. That prompted it, hey, look, we've obviously got a problem. And the cancer awareness, the cancer benefits, and all that stuff. Now, they not gonna get into it, but they didn't give it to firefighters right away. It
Right.
was more like a city thing. But we still pray for that to happen. There's been a lot of firefighters who died, and police officers who died from the health risk that happened on that day.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we want to remember them as well. There right recently another one had just passed away from cancer that was linked back to 9/11. We want to include him on that as well, because without those guys, and it's just not firemen, civilians, everything else, they went in to a situation that they did what they had to do. And you know, that's phenomenal.
They did.
Sometimes it bothers me to hear people label heroes. Well, hero don't have to wear a cape.
No,
I've seen more heroes from moms taking care of their kids.
oh, yeah.
Dads actually stepping in, doing what's right.
And-
All it means to be a hero is doing what's right.
Right, and them guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, they were just doing their job.
That's it.
That's their job.
That's
To
it.
go up there and rescue as many people as they can, to render aid and to help out when they can.
And notice
That's what they
we're
were doing.
not going to talk about the people who caused this
No.
mess, but the people who
I know.
got involved in this, the group originated for them. They don't deserve that.
No.
And like I
We're
said,
just
they tried to
remembering- we
attack.
remembering our fallen
Exactly.
people and what America happened, and you know how it changed so many lives, and that's what we're here to do today. That's what everybody across the country is doing today. And we didn't want to come on here and support a product or nothing like that. We just wanted to give our respects, and I think we're doing that well. Now, next week we will start back and we will do start on our products again. And the ones is you know, we're actually going to be giving away a prize
We're
for
gonna
this
give
show.
away- yeah.
We actually going to have a winner
From last week.
from last week's show, just as soon as we
Soon as we get done
here.
here.
And we don't wanna sit on here for 20 or 30 minutes and let our show just keep going and on and on. I think, you know, what we have done already is enough said.
I agree.
Honestly, I do, unless you got, I think you
I-
have some more.
I don't, I can ramble
Oh,
on for a long
you
time.
could go for 30 minutes,
This
and I
guy-
could too. We could sit here and I could continue talking what that day meant to me, but you know, there's a lot of it, and just a day of remembrance, and I think we've done a great job by doing that. And I appreciate you having an idea, coming up with it,
Well,
and you did come up with it, and you done good.
It's like I said, it rejuvenated my passion for people
Right.
on that day. And the main thing is, let's not get away from, you know, I think we tend to argue too much until something of this happens. And I just want to remind everybody, put your swords away. I mean,
Yeah.
life's too short.
Way too short.
What we seen in 9/11 and events that happened a few days later was people were putting down their swords and came together as one. Why did it have to be because of that tragedy?
Right.
We should be doing this on a daily grind.
They are.
We should be loving each other on a daily grind. You know, and I encourage you, hey, look, if you haven't said your prayer today, stop what you're doing right now and say a prayer for those lost and those who've been gained out of it. And, but boss, you're right, I don't have nothing else to say.
Yeah.
This right here
Says it all. But I like to encourage anybody that does have some time today. There's several events going around
Correct.
the county, around the state. A lot of fire departments are having, you know.
Belton has one tonight
Yep.
at 6:15. Meet at Rock Springs Fire Department.
It's gonna be the walk.
It's gonna be the walk. This is something they have, an annual event. Once you guys walk, I don't know the distance, maybe 2-3 miles from Rock Springs
Yeah,
to
to
Belton
Belton
City
City.
Fire Department. Have any questions, reach out to the guys at Belton City Fire Department.
Yep.
A good group of guys. Give a shout out to you guys there. Chief Brad Manus, the guys do a great
Yeah.
job over there.
And also too, I think today in Charleston, I think it got canceled last week because of the hurricane that came through.
Right.
But I think they're having the bridge walk today
Okay.
for you guys down
I'm
in
not
that
sure
area.
about that.
I'm sure you know about it, but I'm pretty sure it is today.
But look, you guys get linked in one of those. It's a great thing to go out, fellowship with each other. That's what Jesus wants us to do, is fellowship with each
Amen.
other and really embrace each other. So once you guys get plugged in, boss, let's give away something
Let's
from
do it.
last week's show.
Let's
I'm
do it.
starting to sweat.
I don't have my
and,
glasses, so I can't see what the name you got on there, but I
Okay.
can see our wheel turning.
Hey, our good buddy Richie McWorthy from Dewey's Island.
Yeah.
All right, Richie, I'm gonna reach out to you in just a minute, buddy.
Also, guys,
Congratulations. Be sure to like, share this week
Got it.
for next week's prize.
That's
And
right.
until then, you guys love one another. Say your prayers. We'll catch you next week.
What, you gonna get oh, so Richie won?
Richie, won.
Oh, okay, I thought he
Where you behind? You behind the time.
I'm way behind.
All right, guys.
Got you. God bless.
Thank you.